Iran, a country with a profound history and culture, is capable of surprising many people. Spotless boulevards, a modern metro system, and images of confident, stylish young women have shattered countless old stereotypes. Yet Iran still hides many fascinating layers waiting to be discovered. The country's economy is developing far more dynamically than most people assume. At the same time, it faces serious challenges: political instability, social pressure, and the harsh realities of daily life. Iran has endured more than 4 decades of international sanctions, and many believe that inevitably leads to widespread poverty. But the reality is much more complex. Iran is not an Arab country, not solely a conservative Islamic society, and certainly not the gloomy place it is sometimes portrayed to be in the media. Here you'll find bustling shopping malls and universities that train engineers, doctors, and creative designers. Nevertheless, the country is experiencing a massive brain drain. Hundreds of thousands of talented people are leaving. Why are they leaving? What is really going on? If you want to know more, hit the like button and turn on notifications so you don't miss new videos. If you only view Iran through news about inflation, protests, or international sanctions, it's easy to think the country is in deep crisis. But is that the full picture? Before jumping to conclusions, we need to look at the fundamentals. Iran possesses some of the world's largest oil and natural gas reserves. It has diverse landscapes, mountains, sea, deserts, forests, and resources that allow it to be largely self-sufficient. Unlike many Middle Eastern states that depend heavily on food imports, Iranians can grow their own produce, manufacture goods, and preserve traditional crafts, from Persian carpets and ceramics to musical instruments, cars, steel, and industrial equipment. This is a form of economic independence. Cut off from global markets, they've been forced to develop their own technology. Can't import medicines or aircraft parts? They make them themselves. No Google Play? They created Cafe Bazaar? No Visa or MasterCard? They built a national payment system. It's far from perfect, but it shows remarkable adaptability. On paper, the country seems closed off, yet if you visit northern Tehran, you'll see a completely different reality. Real estate prices there rival Paris. Luxury brands, brought in through unofficial channels, are sold in malls like Palladium or Sam Center. Despite import controls, the Iranian elite finds ways to live by global standards. Beneath the image of a sanctioned nation lies a young generation full of inner contradictions. They grew up between two currents, centuries-old family traditions and modern culture seeping into everyday life. They love their country, yet many dream of leaving it to find greater freedom. About 65% of Iran's population is under 30. This generation is educated, energetic, and creative. Paradoxically, they are the ones caught in invisible constraints: politics, control, and instability. Many young Iranians speak fluent English, understand Western pop culture, and use VPNs to watch Netflix and access social media. They dream of life in Europe, Canada, or Australia, yet when they step outside, they often have to change their clothes, speech, habits, and sometimes even their dreams. Youth unemployment hovers around 20%. So the question arises, if Iran is beautiful, rich in culture, and full of potential, why do so many young people want to leave? The truth is that emigration has reached record levels. Between 2018 and 2022, roughly 1.5 million Iranians left the country, almost 2% of the population. The reasons go beyond economics. High inflation, the plummeting value of the rial, and a sense of uncertainty push young people to look for a way out. Strict political control, restrictions on personal freedom, and regional instability intensify the pressure. This is why the brain drain has become massive. Doctors, engineers, scientists, and talented students are leaving one after another. Today, Iran ranks first in the world for the emigration of highly educated professionals. More than 110,000 Iranian scientists now work abroad. Sadly, they leave not because they hate Iran, but because they seek a future where their talents are truly valued and where freedom is real. Their departure is not just a loss of human capital, it is a loss of Iran's future. In a previous video, I mentioned that women in Iran are required to wear a headscarf. Now let me explain it in more detail because life on the streets is far more nuanced. If you walk through the lively streets of Tehran today, you'll immediately notice that the hijab is no longer just a rule. For many, it has become a fashion accessory. Young women choose loose silhouettes, light trench coats, wide jeans, and white sneakers. Some wear the scarf barely covering any hair, others don't wear it at all. All of this has created a distinctive Iranian style, traditional yet infused with modern spirit. Designers like Faraz Abdullahi and Naghmeh Kamari are at the forefront of this movement. For them, the hijab is not a limitation, it's raw material for creativity, a way to blend culture with global fashion. In the malls of Tehran and Mashhad, the style rivals that of any major world city. Maxi dresses with Persian patterns, elegant coats, handcrafted silk scarves, and imported sneakers create an image of refined, expressive beauty. Interestingly, behind this glamour there are underground fashion shows held in private studios where young Iranians freely express themselves through color, fabric, and bold ideas. In a society full of restrictions, fashion has become the space where tradition and modernity meet most harmoniously. There is one story that cannot be ignored when talking about Iran, a story that laid bare deep cultural and political tensions. In 2022, Mahsa Amini, a 22-year-old Kurdish woman, was detained by the morality police in Tehran for allegedly violating hijab rules. 3 days later, she died in hospital. Authorities claimed it was a health issue, but footage of Mahsa unconscious sparked an unprecedented wave of outrage. Thousands of young women, students, and ordinary citizens took to the streets. They cut their hair, burned hijabs, and chanted, "Woman, life, freedom." The protests were not only about the headscarf, they were a cry against a system that controls bodies, choices, and futures. The regime's response was brutal. More than 19,000 arrests, over 500 deaths, internet blackouts, and communication restrictions. Mahsa's death forced the world to look at Iran differently, not just as a country of rich culture, but as a place where people demand dignity. It became a signal. Iranian society, especially its youth, stands on the threshold of a long and difficult path toward change. If you've ever been to Iran, you'll surely remember the hospitality, sincerity, and politeness of its people. Yet alongside these warm-hearted people exists political instability that cannot be ignored. The gap between the population and the state has lasted more than 40 years. Iranians love their country, cherish its culture and community, but feel distant from the ruling class. Iran's political system is a complex mix of democracy and theocracy. At the top sits the supreme leader, who controls the military, judiciary, media, and foreign policy. The president is elected, but many candidates are disqualified by the Guardian Council. People can vote, but they do not have full freedom of choice. Press freedom and social media are also restricted. Notably, in December 2024, Iran lifted bans on WhatsApp and Google Play Store and plans to unblock Telegram and Instagram. However, Facebook, YouTube, and X remain inaccessible. The paradox is that officials use these platforms while journalists, artists, and bloggers risk prison for stepping outside permitted boundaries. Even education is under control. Every Iranian lives with an inner tension between the Iran of memory and pride and the Iran of reality, where government power is strong yet constrained by its own framework. Iran's constitution officially protects the rights of recognized religious minorities, Christians, Jews, and Zoroastrians. The Jewish community is one of the largest in the Middle East outside Israel, with dozens of active synagogues. Zoroastrians maintain ancient rituals like Nowruz and keep sacred fires burning. Christian churches exist in many cities, reflecting centuries of religious diversity. However, not all faiths are recognized. The Baha'i faith, which originated in 19th century Iran, is considered heretical and faces severe restrictions. Denial of higher education, job dismissals, constant surveillance, arrests, and property confiscation. The situation is especially dire for those who convert from Islam, particularly to Christianity. Under Islamic criminal law, apostasy can be punishable by death. Some cases have drawn international human rights attention. In practice, the line between freedom and control is razor thin. If a person keeps their faith private, they can live peacefully. But openly practicing beliefs that diverge from official doctrine risks surveillance, interrogation, or loss of basic rights. Freedom exists in Iran, but it is deeply limited. If the previous video made you admire Iran's beauty, this one shows the other side. Everyday life where economic hardship has become reality. Yes, for a tourist with dollars or euros, Iran looks like paradise. A traditional meal costs just a few dollars, and four-star hotels are far cheaper than in Europe. But for ordinary locals, especially middle-class and working families, life is a constant struggle. Inflation ranges between 31% and 37%. Prices of basic goods double, and many families depend on remittances from relatives abroad. Paradoxically, despite vast natural resources, diverse climate, high education levels, and developed infrastructure, the local currency keeps collapsing due to sanctions and opaque economic management. In 2023 alone, the rial lost over 40% of its value against the US dollar. One Tehran resident said, "When you have money, life is beautiful. When you don't, you learn what real resilience means." In the end, Iran is a land of contrasts. Part of it is beautiful and comfortable. Another part is constantly fighting to survive. Beauty and hardship coexist here, making every day both precious and difficult. Let's set politics aside for a moment and look at a region rich in culture and unique history. The three main provinces of Iranian Azerbaijan, West Azerbaijan, East Azerbaijan, and Ardabil, lie in the northwest and are home to more than 16 million Azerbaijani Iranians, one of the country's largest ethnic groups. Their language, music, dance, and cuisine create a vibrant cultural identity. If there is a city that can be called the heart of Azerbaijani culture in Iran, it is Tabriz. It combines ancient atmosphere with energetic trade and was once a major stop on the Silk Road. The Grand Covered Bazaar of Tabriz, one of the oldest and largest in the world, is a UNESCO site. Stone alleys, old wooden doors, and a constant flow of people reveal the city's living history. Tabriz is the birthplace of outstanding writers, poets, and scholars who have made enormous contributions to Iranian culture. Yet a region with such rich history and culture rarely appears in tourist videos. The reasons are political and logistical. Proximity to the borders with Azerbaijan and Turkey complicates travel, and ethnic sensitivities mean the media mention it less often. Ignoring these provinces means missing an essential part of Iran. Here, Azerbaijani is spoken alongside Farsi. Tea is brewed Turkish style, yet still carries a Persian soul. It is an ancient, vibrant region that deserves attention. Another part of Iran is slowly fading from modern memory. The nomadic tribes such as the Qashqai, Bakhtiari, and Baloch. On vast plains, thousands still live in harmony with nature, herding livestock, migrating with the seasons, and passing down ancient traditions. The Qashqai tribe stands out. Around 400,000 members live around Shiraz and Fars province. This Turkic people remain proud of their nomadic life, horseback riding, sheep herding, and weaving the legendary carpets that have become symbols of Iranian culture. Qashqai women, dressed in bright clothing and traditional headscarves, are not only keepers of the household, they are master artisans who preserve language, music, and community spirit. But pressure is mounting. Climate change brings harsh winters and shrinking pastures. Government settlement programs force many families to abandon their lands and move to cities. The younger generation is gradually losing its nomadic heritage. The nomadic way of life in Iran is more than just a lifestyle. It is living heritage, testimony to millennia of history on this land. The exquisite Qashqai carpets are not merely souvenirs, they are symbols of a living culture. In my view, preserving and supporting these communities is vital so their culture does not become a museum exhibit, but remains a vibrant part of modern Iran. After everything we've learned about culture, people, and the simple beauty of daily life, it may come as a surprise that a key aspect of Iran's foreign policy has led the country into isolation. The tense relationship with Israel is not a conflict between peoples, but an ideological confrontation between the Iranian government and the State of Israel. Since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, Iran has consistently rejected Israel's existence, supported opposition movements, and promoted slogans like "Death to Israel" at state rallies. Yet behind the political facade, reality is different. In the cafes and university halls of Isfahan, people live another life. It is precisely these hostile relations that have brought sanctions, diplomatic isolation, and blows to the economy, education, science, and technology. And as always, ordinary people, those who have nothing to do with politics, suffer the most. They dream of peace, of the chance to study, work, and connect with the world. Iranians do not hate Israel or Jews. They hate poverty, isolation, and barriers that prevent them from living as freely as young people in other countries. This is the tragedy of the Iran-Israel conflict. Decisions driven by ideology and made at the highest levels fall like a heavy burden on the shoulders of people who want only one thing: to live, love, and build their future freely. You might ask yourself, is Iran a suitable travel destination for me? My answer, yes, but on one condition: you must be open-minded, patient, and well-prepared. Iran is not the easiest place to travel, yet it offers one of the most rewarding and profound experiences you'll ever have. Most foreigners need a visa. It can be obtained online, on arrival at the airport, except for citizens of the USA, UK, and Canada, or through an embassy. The process is straightforward but requires accuracy: a passport valid for at least 6 months, a photo, flight and hotel bookings, and travel insurance. The cost ranges from $30 to $90. Citizens of the USA, UK, and Canada must travel with an official tour and guide. Note: passports with Israeli stamps are not accepted. Regarding clothing, women must cover their hair and wear long sleeves and loose trousers. Men should avoid shorts and tank tops. Public displays of affection are discouraged. International bank cards do not work, so bring cash, USD or EUR, and exchange it at official exchange offices. Alcohol is strictly prohibited and laws are enforced harshly. If you plan to drive, strict adherence to traffic rules is mandatory. English is rarely spoken outside big cities, so learning a few Farsi phrases helps a lot. Iran has a well-developed transport system. Taxis, intercity buses, and trains are clean, cheap, and punctual. To use YouTube, Facebook, WhatsApp, or Instagram, you'll need a VPN. Iranians are famous for their hospitality and kindness. You may be invited to someone's home for dinner or greeted with genuine warmth, but avoid discussing religion or politics in public. Politeness is the key to being welcomed. The best time to visit is spring, March-May, or autumn, September-October, when temperatures are around 20 degrees Celsius. Summers are extremely hot, especially in the south and deserts. Winters are cold and snowy in the north. Security is strict and police are highly visible. Tourists should stay alert. One risk is scams. Someone may pose as police and demand documents or search luggage. In such cases, go to a crowded place or an official police station. Dual nationals face higher legal risks, and some governments advise against travel to Iran. Beyond the famous cities of Tehran, Shiraz, and Isfahan, consider lesser-known gems: the ancient village of Masuleh, Keshem Island, Badab-e-Surt, or the city of Tabriz in East Azerbaijan. Always check visa rules and the current security situation before traveling. Iran is not for those in a hurry, it is for the patient and respectful. Here you can discover an ancient civilization and meet kind, educated, and talented people. The people of Iran are not the government of Iran, and that distinction matters. They love their country yet want more freedom and strive to overcome outdated and unjust restrictions. When someone asks you what Iran is really like, remember, it is not a monochrome picture. It is a mosaic where history, religion, culture, people, and unfulfilled dreams intertwine into one whole. And my final question to you: are you ready to see Iran not through a political lens but with your heart? Are you ready to listen to a country so often misunderstood, not to agree or argue but simply to feel and appreciate? Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and turn on notifications. I'll be happy to see you in the next one. Goodbye and see you soon.